Good evening and welcome to Poland Daily. I'm Nicholas Richardson and this is the news. The Speaker of the Polish Senate, Tomasz Grodzki, announced today that he had summoned the President of the highest auditing body in Poland, namely the Supreme Audit Office, Marian Banaś, to testify in front of a Senate investigative commission in relation to his nomination to the position of head of the Supreme Audit Office. The peculiar nature of this case is increased by the fact that the Constitution does not require the President of the Supreme Audit Office to respect such a summons.
Tomorrow is the day the Speaker of the Polish Senate, Tomasz Grodzki, will send an official note to the President of the Supreme Audit Office, Marian Banaś, informing him that he has been called to testify in front of the Senate Investigation Commission. The basis of the move is supposedly the fact that the Senate was involved in Mr. Banaś's nomination proceedings and has some additional questions.
From what I understand, the lower house Sejm also made some moves in order to summon Mr. Banaś. Because we are part of the nomination process of the President of the Supreme Audit Office, we want to ask him about some details, mainly concerning lack of knowledge during the election process. I am under the impression that it could have influenced the final voting result. I think that this would resolve all doubts surrounding the nomination process and cut all the media speculations about him allegedly avoiding contacts with the media. I think that the Senate Committee Forum is a good place for a substantive discussion about the Supreme Audit Office, about the plans of its president for the next term of that body. Let's remember that this is a 6-year term and it is important to find out what are the priorities of the president and what kind of additional audit processes he is planning in addition to those that are routine. So the substantive discussion about their work is most desirable. This is a decision made by the Senate. MPs do not control what the Senate is doing, so since Speaker Grodzki is from the opposition, he acts on his own and he does not consult nor coordinate his actions with us.
The Speaker of the Polish Senate, Tomasz Grodzki, assures that the discussion will be intense but also substantive. That is, if such discussion will take place at all. The President of the Supreme Audit Office is not legally obliged to react to such summons at all.
The Supreme Court has today overruled the appeal filed by the attorneys of Marek Falenta. The Polish businessman is serving a prison sentence following the so-called tape scandal. The scandal broke when investigative journalists published a number of audio tapes of discussions between high-ranking politicians secretly recorded in a number of Warsaw restaurants. Falenta is currently serving a 2.5-year prison sentence.
Falenta's attorneys based their appeal on the alleged violations of regulations by the Court of Second Instance. However, judges of the Supreme Court ruled that no malpractices were committed during the proceedings, which could have influenced the verdict. The attorneys also stressed that their client was not guilty and demand a retrial.
The former Prime Minister of Belgium, Michel, visited Warsaw today to meet the Prime Minister of Poland, Mateusz Morawiecki. Michel will take over Donald Tusk's position as President of the European Council on 1st of December.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's for me a great pleasure to be here in Poland. In preparation of this new function, it's very important for me to have this occasion to discuss with the Prime Minister, with his team, the different topics we have to face at the European level in the next weeks, in the next months. And indeed, I share this opinion that the trust is a very important condition in order to be able in the next weeks, in the next months to take important European decisions. We have discussed today, this morning, many topics, but I would like to highlight this excellent.
We both want the European Union to be a global superpower, not only economically but also politically. That is why talks about the economy, politics and our neighboring countries are a natural thing. Michel's proposition is to spend some time on a strategic debate, during which many prime ministers and presidents need to focus on key matters.
The Polish Central Bank has announced that it has transferred to Poland 100 tons of Polish gold that had been kept at the Bank of England in London. The secret mission included 8 separate flights to Poland, heavily guarded by security forces. The Polish Central Bank has almost doubled its gold reserves in recent years, purchasing 125.7 tons in the years 2018 and 2019. Half of Poland's gold reserves remain in England. The president of the Polish Central Bank, Adam Glapiński, told the press that he doesn't rule out the possibility of Poland buying more gold in the coming years. Today, some 10,000 farmers from across Germany, with around 500,000 tractors, protested against the government's agriculture policies, bringing traffic to a standstill in central Berlin.
The protesters gathered at the city's landmark, the Brandenburg Gate, demanding more planning security and saying they would no longer accept the current situation. Farming is the basis for everyone, whether you live in a big city, a small city or in a village. The situation has become very drastic as far as rules go, also from politicians. We are no longer willing to accept this situation. On every bridge for the first 160 kilometers there were people awaiting the tractors, waving and hanging banners in the farmers' support. On every bridge across the highway between Schweinfurt, from where we left, up to Erfurt and Arnstadt, there were between 10 and 100 people on Sunday, barbecuing and hanging banners from the bridge. They waved and it was very emotional. We realized that we are accepted by the public. Many young farmers stated that they are in doubt whether it's a good decision to follow in their parents' footsteps and become farmers.
The problem right now is that a lot of farmers see their future in danger. There are young farmers like myself who are thinking about whether or not to take over their parents' farm. It's very, very important to know what the future in farming looks like so we have certainty. If we invest now, we need to know whether, for example, a new barn is still legal in its current form in 5 years.
The
protests in Germany have been inspired by a farmers' protest which started earlier this year in the Netherlands in reaction to the government's plans to introduce legislation which would strike against farmers, but according to the government is meant to mitigate environmental and climate change problems.
That's the news. Thank you for watching. Stay with us for the weather, Poland Daily Business and more programmes. But from me, it's have a good night and a better tomorrow.